Morning, guys. So it's the 28th of March here, and I got a shipment in of traps here. So these came out from Canadian Coyote Company, Marty Saneker's company, down in, I believe that's Vauxhall, southern Alberta. So I was going to order from Ian. Sorry, Ian. There was a couple beaver stop ends from Hags that you didn't carry there, so Marty had them in stock. I ended up getting from him, and you had by far the best price. If anybody's looking for footholds, that sort of thing, body grips, Dam Beaver Trapping Supply in Saskatchewan had the best prices I could find on the No BS footholds, and a bunch of other stuff too, but I didn't need anything else. Unfortunately, Marty price matched for me, so I bought from him instead. But I will be reaching out soon because I need some lights out springs as well for comparing next year. So, wife told me all the cool kids are doing unboxings. I don't know. Let's give her a try. See what I bought. Okay. This is like Christmas for me. Okay, so this one, just like Christmas, we got ourselves a whole pile, the No BS Junior. So the reason why I bought these is I've been running Bridger number 2 dogless for a few years now. I don't know how they have to get these apart, are they? Oh, I see where they're locked. Okay. Yeah, so I've been running Bridger number 2 dogless traps for quite a few years now. I really like the dogless trap compared to the dog trap. I guess I should start off saying I'm not the best foot holder in the world, but I really want to get better at it, and I'm not terrible. I do alright, I guess, but last few years I haven't put a lot of effort in, and it's been showing, so... but here in Canada, we have to have certified traps. So my Bridger number 2 dogless, I tried retrofitting a few of them with inside and outside laminations. I got the outside laminations on good. The inside laminations cause issues with where the springs sit here. Yeah, you can't sit right. It messes with the pan setup. I screwed around with them for so long, and I bastardized a few of the traps there. They'll work. I don't have a ton of faith in them. I need to get longer bolts that go through here for them, and I think they'd be alright, but even still, I don't like what I was doing there. So, the ones that I didn't get double laminations on are perfectly legal to use for Fox. We're probably going to do some of that. I'll definitely keep a handful of them around just in case for spares, but you can't legally set them for Coyote. To buy the new Bridgers was a few dollars less, because they are certified now with the inside-outside laminations. Yeah, I'm sorry, I forget his name there that makes Bridger. He is making them now, certified here for Canada, and he's made them so they're completely operable. They're not bastardized like mine, and they were just a few dollars less than the No BS. I've heard really good things about these traps. I have some of the extremes, and I also have the Wolf version of them, and I really like them for the value. They're a very, very solid trap. So. I ended up buying 24 because I figured they'll never be this price again. Traps don't go bad, and even if they sit in the box for the next 10 years, they're going to be legal then anyway. So I bought 24. So one of these boxes, this one's probably full of footholds as well. So pretty excited about that. Let's check. Yeah, so this is the other dozen. And again, same thing. And I really like that they come coated already. Like that's awesome. I don't have to dye them. I'm just gonna put my springs on them, make them the chain and spring the same as all my other traps that work with my system, and they're ready to go. Ugh. Let's see what this one has. This is where the real surprise is, because I don't remember everything I bought. It was late at night and a little sleep deprived from the kid. I'm gonna turn that fan off for you though. There we go. A little bit quieter, sorry about that. Oh, and I even got a free pen. Thank you, Marty. So, for my snare cable here this last year, I got a bunch of coyotes given to me. They were caught with 3/32 7x7 cable. And I was actually impressed with the quality of the kills overall. They were less humane than the 1/16 cable, but they also had Marty's original spring on them. What I mean by the original spring is they had the little guy, so I prefer the Magnum spring. This is the number 22, and I got the economy model. I don't know if it makes a difference between the premium and the economy, but I do like these ones. I have some of the super mags. I didn't bring it or buy any here on this trip. I just got a couple of these, and then of course you need the triggers for them. But yeah, I feel like if the 3/32 7x7 would have had the bigger spring or even the Magnum spring on, or the Super Magnum spring, they would have done a lot better. And same with if they were running the A1 or the Signature series from Lights at Snaring, would have been way better. So I usually run 1x19 cable construction, either in the 1/16 or the 5/64. I've been finding that the 7x7 hooks up a lot better with the locks. So I want to try. I don't know. I'm gonna build a bunch of snares here with the 7x7 5/64 cable for coyotes specifically. And the reason why I'm not too worried about it, if you go down to the 1/16 7x7, we use it for links a lot, but lots of times they'll end up in that teardrop shape. With the 5/64, I've got it so you have to work the cable a little bit, or load the snare, I guess it's called, and you can actually get a decent round loop on it. So I really want to try this 7x7 construction in the 5/64 and see if that makes a big difference, because I am looking at moving up to the 5/64 to avoid chew outs and that sort of thing. I like the 1/16 cable, I really do, but you do have a better chance to chew out if you don't get good catches on them. So I think with these springs, there's not going to be much of a difference between the humaneness of the 1/16 cable versus the 5/64, and I want to put that to the test next year. So it's one of the things we're going to play with, but we got more triggers because they end up in my pocket and then the washing machine, and then the wife throws them out. I'm really excited to try these. So these are why I bought from Marty and not Ian there, because Ian didn't have any of these on his website. I could have phoned Ian, and he's awesome for bringing stuff in. If you ever need something, don't be afraid to give him a call. He's awesome to work with. So I just figured I'd order because it was easy and it was late at night. I think I was ordering at like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. So these come with an end on the top and a stop down below. And what it's for, let's see. Where's my mink stuff? There we go. So what they're designed for is for these Hags brackets here. And what it is your one stop goes on the top of the your 1/2 inch fiberglass. This one has a plastic stop on it, but you can see fits right over there. And what you do is you take a punch and hammer it 3 or 4 times. I'll probably go 4 or 6 times on So you put that one on the top, so you have your stop, and you can run a 3/8 T post through here, or just tie it off like I do on my beaver poles. And then on the bottom, you put this guy on and you hammer it, I don't know, however far you want it off the bottom of your rod. So I'm going to pick up actually a bunch of 1/2 inch fiberglass rod here today. And then what this does is it allows this hags bracket to go down. That's your stop there. But at the same time, you can actually take the trap off of your fiberglass rod. So the reason why I'm looking at doing this versus my regular, because you guys have seen in the past, I just use a piece of rebar, 8 feet long, and that's what I use for all my beaver sets, my TS 85s, and that sort of thing for foot holding. So what this allows me to do is I can actually swap a TS 85 out if I see there's a spot where a mink or a raccoon is going along the bank, or otters or whatever. I can just grab a different trap with a hags bracket on it, slide it over there. I'm not stuck with the TS 85 on there full time, and then I'm sitting there trying to open up the eyelet on my swivels and swap the bracket out, that sort of thing. I literally just slide this off the end and I can swap traps. And then where that comes into ADC trapping for me, damage control trapping, and it's a really cool idea. I haven't seen anybody else out there doing it, but I do trap in town quite a bit when I'm doing problem wildlife removal. So if I'm trapping along, a walking trail or whatever, lots of times I'm using body grips. They're usually semi-submerged or fully submerged, but there's lots of times, whether it's by a bridge or what, people can actually see down into the water. Generally, I'm setting just before dark, and I'm pulling first thing in the morning. So I might be there at 5 o'clock, but it was sunny at 4 o'clock. There might be some people that were getting up for work early, that sort of thing. They take their dog for a walk. I don't want a beaver in a body grip floating with the tail up or the butt on the top of the water, or maybe it pulled itself up onto shore when it got caught, it jumped forward. What I'm going to do is put the hags bracket on some of these 330s, and I'll have it on like a 4-inch long cable, and I'll put it on my drowning rod. And same thing, I can take that TS 85 off there, whatever trap's on that rod, I slide it off the end with these beaver stops, put my 330 on there, it gets caught, and when it goes, it should go down to the bottom on that dive pole. And I think that's going to help out with definitely the optics, because lots of people, especially in the urban areas, don't understand what we do or don't like what we do. And again, the reason why they don't like it generally is because they don't understand it. That's human nature. You're afraid of what you don't understand. So that's something I'm really excited about. Being able to, the versatility of these and being able to take the traps off. So I bought a whole pile of these ends. I think there's 4 dozen here. Or, sorry, 2 dozen here, I think. I can't remember. I think there's a dozen in each of these. Yeah, there is. So, I got 4 dozen. And I'm actually going to pick up a bunch of rebar, or not rebar, fiberglass rod here today. So, I bought the CJ Connors coyote springs. You guys have seen, I run these on all my coyote traps. I run them on all my wolf traps. I use the wolf ones for the wolf traps, obviously. So, I'm going to run these on all of my footholds I just bought. And then, what else we got? We got some Keflocks here. These are for the 1/16 cable. Again, I'm going to be using these rather than the death blow locks this year. But I really like these on the 1x19 cable. I probably won't use them on the 5/64 because I feel like the locks bite so much better on that anyway. And I have pretty good luck on the 1x19 with the cam lock anyway. But I am going to start using a little bit more of these, especially freezing rain conditions, heavy hoarfrost. I've been having some issues with some catches I didn't like. This year I got lucky, didn't have too many to deal with, but in the past I've had some serious wrecks because of freezing rain and hoarfrost. And then he didn't have the drag I wanted in stock. So I got this one. I can't remember which brand it is. This might be the Freedom brand one. But I want it for my wolf traps. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this. I have a friend that is really good with a welder. I'm going to give this to him. And I'm going to get him to build it just slightly bigger and heavier. Because we got A, grizzly bears, B, cougars, and C, lots of wolves. So this fall, if we want to do a whole bunch of wolf trapping, I want to be running drags where I'm not chasing something 4 miles through the mountains to go put it down. I want something that's going to hook up fast, something that's not going to bend if a grizzly bear does get caught. And I really, really hope we don't run into that issue, but I want to be prepared if we do. And, you know, Fish and Wildlife's going to be my first call to come help me release the darn thing if that happens. So, fingers crossed it doesn't happen, but I don't think this little twig is going to hold a grizzly bear. So, yeah, this is just a template for us to use to start building bigger, heavier ones. And then the last thing I bought was a new skinning apron. You guys have seen I got this black one over here, so it's a heavy duty rubber. It doesn't get brittle and break, that sort of thing. I've been finding it really comfy, so I think this one was on sale, so I picked one of them up. Again, it's one of those things I don't think we'll ever see these prices again because everything's getting more and more expensive. So big thank you to Marty for sending these out. That's awesome. So again, Canadian Coyote Company. I wear enough of his sweaters, you guys have seen him around. But yeah, and the other spot that I really like buying from is Ian at Dan Beaver Trapping Supply. So give them some love if you guys need some trapping supplies. Also, Alberta Trappers Association in Westlock, great spot to buy stuff. We got Halford Hides in Edmonton. I buy lots of stuff from them. I'm sorry, there's another one in Saskatchewan. I can't remember, Jay and something. I've never bought from them, but I've been hearing some good stuff here on Facebook, so I might send an order your way even. North Bay in Ontario, you're gonna have Fur Harvesters Trading Post. Yeah, lots of options out there. Make sure to support those guys. Get all your products purchased early because prices went up. You know everybody's gonna buy everything this year, so that's why I'm early here this year. I'm always prepared, and yeah. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. A little bit different. I still don't know how I feel about an unboxing video, but it is what it is. All the cool kids are doing it. So, anyways, if you're enjoying it, like, share, follow, subscribe. Really appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we're just trying to make it, and we're north of 4 now.